Hello, my name is Mallory Harder Ravendyke, and this is my Module 3 assignment on motivating students. So, there are a couple questions we're asked to address. The first one is rewards and how can they be detrimental to students who are motivated intrinsically? And then, how can we as educators balance um, the concept of learning for learning's sake with modern society's demand for tangible rewards? So, my plan is to kind of go through a few people's opinions and then how they apply to education. So, the first person is Dan Pink, and he gave a TED talk about the puzzle of motivation. And he talked about four main things. The first thing he talked about was rewards and how they often actually do harm. He stated several scientific um, experiments where two groups of people were completing the same candle problem. The people that were offered rewards often did worse than the other people. And he said there's a disconnect between what science knows and what we do in business. So, yeah, his talk was a lot about business, but can be easily applied to a classroom. He talked about the three things that we need in order to be motivated, and autonomy, mastery, and purpose are those three. Um, Mastery is the desire to get better and better at something that matters. Purpose is the yearning to do what we do in service of something larger than ourselves. And the one he talks about the most is autonomy. So it is the urge to direct our own lives. It increases productivity and engagement. So he talks about two main examples of this in business. The first was an Australian company that told their engineers, okay, you have 24 hours, go work on whatever you want. And after those 24 hours, the engineers would come back and present their findings. They they found that during those 24 hours, the engineers really let their creativity shine, and it made them more productive during the remainder of the year. So then there was the ERG theory, and it states that all three of these areas must be satisfied at the same time for an employee to feel motivated. So those three categories are existence, so those are the basic survival needs: food, water, shelter, safety. Relatedness, you need to be able to relate to another person. And growth, so we have a need for personal development, doing meaningful work. That's kind of like Dan Pink's purpose, like we like to be doing something that means something. So this can be easily applied to a classroom. Students like to know the why, especially in a high school math classroom, of why they need to learn it, and that's kind of the growth. Existence, do they feel safe? It also is kind of a more simple version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So while I was watching all of these videos and reading the articles, I just kept thinking, what do my students think? And so I took time at the end of every class to ask my high school freshmen, who is your most motivating teacher and why? What do they do in the classroom that is motivating for you? And what makes you want to do well in their class? And really, it boiled down to the two things. If they let their personality shine and are engaging in the classroom, telling stories, they make class and homework fun, they want to do well for that teacher. They enjoy the class, so they enjoy doing the homework. And relationships. They actually, these are direct quotes. Direct quotes. She actually listens to us. He gets to know us. She believes in us. That makes them want to do well in that teacher's class. I heard the same teacher's names over and over and over again all day. So I teach all freshmen, so they all have the same teachers, and they just they know when a teacher believes in them. And that's really motivating to them. They don't want to let that teacher down or disappoint them. So, what does all of this mean for education? Rewards are detrimental. They might work for younger grades for like behavior, but maybe not for learning. And they definitely don't work for older grades. Asking my freshmen, not a single student mentioned rewards. Um, they weren't motivated by it. I mean, I feel like I do a pretty good job of um, building relationships with my students, but I give candy. Um, like if you win Jeopardy, then you get a piece of candy or whatever it is that we're doing in class that day. If I can make it a competition and give candy at the end, like I will. But that is not what motivates them in my classroom. The candy is not what motivates them. And really, relationships are everything. That relatedness that was talked about earlier, that really means something to students. I heard the same teacher names over and over again. I know I mentioned that earlier, but these are the teachers that reach out and listen to their students and really motivate them. These are my references.